right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I want to take some time to share with y'all what my current training routine is looking like. All right. Normally, my training routine is anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week, especially if I'm doing the alternate day fasting. Right. I don't train that much while doing the alternate day fasting. Right. So when I'm trying to lean out and whatnot, stress management is at the top of the priority list. Right. So 2 to 3 sessions a week, maintaining a total weekly training time of 60 to 90 minutes. Right? So that was the strategy there that I spoke about previously on the last plan. However, it's a new day. And the goal now is to strive towards putting on weight. So I have a weight gain goal of around 23 to 25 pounds, right? So I need to be on my best, right? And when I'm gaining weight, I like to train more frequently. I feel like I'm at my best and I'm more dialed in when I train more frequently. So what I'm doing is I'm training about 10 minutes per training session, 7 days a week. So I can do this while still maintaining the total of 90 minutes of training a week. So this is a bit more on the higher side. But the reason why I can push more so towards the 90 minutes of a week of training is because I'm eating a lot more than I was in the previous cycle with the alternate day fasting, right? I'm actually trying to gain weight. So, and I also, most of that weight gain, I want it to be muscle growth, right? And frequency, increasing frequency is really beneficial to muscle growth, especially if you're maintaining a significant, let's say, caloric surplus. So training 7 days a week, like around 10, 12 minutes a session, 15 minutes at the most. And each training session contains around 4 to 5 exercises, 1 set per exercise, pushing that set to complete mechanical failure, right? So that's the name of the game. And basically, this is an upper-lower split where I alternate between upper body and lower body, right? So if I'm doing lower body on Monday, then Tuesday I'm doing upper body, and then Wednesday back to lower body, et cetera, right? And just keep that perpetually going, okay? And if I'm feeling run down, then I will choose less challenging exercises and use a bit less resistance and make up for that with doing more reps, right? To stimulate more blood flow instead of a fatigue of the nervous system, right? So that's pretty much how I would be managing my stress there. And then, of course, working on tighten up to improve sleep quality and getting to bed earlier, right? So I can stay on point. So I got my schedule locked in. So this is an upper body workout that I want to share with y'all. Okay. So we're going to start so I can show you a little bit about what this looks like. Now, typically what I like to do is start with the most challenging exercises and then work my way down to the easiest to do, right? So we're going to start here with chin-ups. So just 1 set. I come up quick, come down real slow. So basically explosive on the way up, real strict form, slow release on the way back down. I don't really have like a set rep goal in mind. I'm really just focused on exhausting the set, right? Stretching the muscle as much as possible, really feeling it and challenging the muscle overall, right? Now, each week, I'm gonna try to tack on more reps to the exercise. But really, I'm just really shooting for the stimulus. And then, of course, the strength gain and the accumulation of reps over time is a byproduct of the intense training, right? So this is like progressive overload by default. All right. So let's say if I do chin-ups on this day, then the next one I'll do lat pull downs, or should I say pull-ups, like a wide grip pull-up, right? So we reach complete mechanical failure at the end of the rep, and that's it. Right? Just 1 set does the trick. Now moving on to the next exercise, we've got a banded decline push-up, all right? So I put my feet up in the TRX. I hang the TRX, which is like a suspension trainer, right? It's a pair of straps. I hang that from the top of the pull-up bar and basically use that to anchor my feet in order to get that downward angle in the push-ups. And I'm adding a resistance band to the exercise, right? So this is an exercise particularly that's really good for challenging not just the pec major, but also the pec minor which is the clavicular head of the chest. Okay, so generally speaking, my rep scheme now on these more compound movements are going to be like around 6 to 12 reps or so, right? So I know I can be a bit more challenging, and I can, like, let's say, use a heavier resistance band or something like that if I surpass the 12 reps on this exercise here, right? But prioritizing the rep tempo, the control of the rep, right? And let's say if I'm doing this exercise today, the next upper body exercise will be dips, right? Body weight dips on the parallel bars. Okay. And then after that, I may just do like a flat push-up. Okay. And then recycle back to this decline banded push-up. And those are like the three exercises that I rotate between in order to target the chest, front delts, and triceps. So that's all you really need, is about 2 to 3 exercises that you can rotate between. Now we get into shoulders, specifically the medial head of the shoulders, right? Or the lateral head of the shoulders, right? That side delt. So we have here getting into the banded crossing upright row. It's quite a mouthful. But in particular, with this exercise, any type of upright rows with resistance bands, this is like my favorite type of exercise variation to build up the trapezius and the side delts. And the reason why is because not only are you raising the hands up, but you're also pulling them apart. So when your hands are closer together, and then as you raise your hands, you pull your hands apart, this gets more of like a smoother, more natural movement of the shoulder blades. And then you get like this natural movement where the arms are flowing not just up, but outward, right? So you get like a sweep. So that's just a healthier movement for the shoulders, and you get more of a stretch of the side delts, right? So training any given muscle in a stretched position is going to yield a bit more results for the actual growth of that muscle, right? So you can do like a conventional, let's say, banded upright row where you're just pulling straight up. But this one I find is a bit healthier, right? It's a bit easier on the shoulders. You know, you run much less of a risk of getting a shoulder impingement and things like this. Okay, so yeah, that abduction, right? This is very similar to like a lateral raise in the conventional sense. And of course, pushing the set to failure. And you see here, I'm really pushing it. So now we even getting the half reps here. All right, so pulling the hands up to the sternum, and when I'm no longer able to do that, that's the end of the set. Now, the next exercise we got going on here, which is the fourth exercise, and that is going to be the banded single arm drag curl. So this is really interesting. This is like quite possibly like my favorite bicep curl exercise here. So I'm actually doing a bicep curl with my arm behind me, right? So it starts with my hand behind me. Usually when you do bicep curls, you start with the weight in front of you, right? So as you do a bicep curl, your elbow will go from pointing straight down to the ground to then pointing forward in front of you and straight down to the ground. So you get more shoulder involvement. With this exercise here, it completely removes the shoulder involvement. So you're actually getting shoulder extension, right? So this movement is entirely going to be all bicep curl with no front delt involvement. In addition to that, being that you got this shoulder extension where the elbow is behind the torso, you're getting a lot more of a lengthening of the bicep. So you're training the bicep in a lengthened position. So that can give you a bit of an edge where you can get a lot more bicep stimulus, and that leads to more bicep growth as a result. Okay. So you get to really bend that bicep or bend that elbow and contract that bicep in a way that you couldn't if you were starting with the weight in front of you, right? And one thing to be mindful of is that if you do bicep curls with the elbow in front of you, when you curl all the way up to the top, as your hand gets directly over your shoulder, all of the tension on the bicep pretty much is removed, which is why I'm such a big fan of the drag curl. The final exercise is the banded single arm overhead tricep extension. It's also a mouthful. And we're further building on training a muscle in a stretch position, right? So with the tricep, you get way more of a stretch out of the bicep if the elbow is pointed to the ceiling. So, a lot of the times, one of the most common tricep exercise is where the elbows are pointed down and the tricep pushed down. And you can move a lot more weight in a tricep push down, but the tricep is going to be a lot shorter in that position. It's still a good exercise though, because you can still get a really good stretch at the elbow. But this exercise gives you more of a stretch where the tricep ties into the shoulder, right? Where the tricep connects to the head of the shoulder, right? Or the head of the humerus. All right. So you get a really incredible stretch here in the tricep. And this has helped me really grow my triceps a lot, actually, right? This exercise in particular. So I usually would alternate between the push down and the overhead extension. Just two, right? I don't even really necessarily need a third exercise, right? So that about does it for the workout. If you want to train from home using resistance bands, want more of a minimalist home workout routine going, you want to follow a high raw diet that's geared towards improving your metabolic health, your gut health, and you want to build muscle, drop body fat, and all that good stuff, definitely head over to Tribe by Noir and check out becoming a community member or sign up for coaching. And with that, you get the step-by-step playbook of how to get it done.